Today I'm going to be showing you one of the quickest, easiest recipes that I have ever done on this channel. It is a salt scrub that we are going to jazz up with some skin loving oils. We're going to add in a little emulsifier so that it leaves your skin feeling soft, silky and not at all oily or greasy. There's only a few ingredients. It's a great beginner friendly recipe if you're just getting into skincare, so stick around and see how we do it. Welcome to our channel. My name is Anne, and along with my good friend Wayne, we run this YouTube channel, and we also run the Sussex Handmade Soap Company, which is a small bath and body business based in the southeast of the UK. So as I said, today we are making a salt scrub, and it is such an easy recipe to follow. It's just a handful of ingredients. It only takes a few minutes to put together, and it looks and feels fantastic on the skin, or at least I love it anyway. So ingredients today, we are using fine sea salt, and this is without any added anti-caking ingredient. You want to look for sea salt without any added anti-caking ingredient. So in terms of the oils we're using in today's recipe, the first one I've chosen is blackcurrant seed oil. Blackcurrant seed oil is a really lovely oil for the skin. It is high in omega-3 and omega-6 and high in linoleic acid. Linoleic acid is important to help with the skin's barrier function. It has also got anti-inflammatory properties, which means that it could be beneficial for people who have acne-prone skin. And it also has a low comedogenic rating. The comedogenic rating is measured on a level of 0 to 5, and the higher the number, the more likely the oil is to clog pores, which means the more likely it is to cause acne or skin breakouts, especially in people who are prone to acne, such as myself. Blackcurrant seed oil has a rating of 0 to 1, so that is nice and low, which means it is not especially likely to clog pores, so it is less likely to cause acne breakouts. Oils that are high in unsaturated fatty acids, which is the linoleic, the linolenic and the oleate, are less likely to cause acne breakouts, whereas saturated fatty acids such as lauric, palmitic and stearic are often more moisturising oils, but they are more likely to clog the pores. So because for today's recipe I don't want a rich moisturising cream, we are essentially making a scrub that is just hopefully going to leave us feeling nice and clean. I've chosen oils with a low comedogenic rating because I don't want them to clog the pores. And for that reason I have also chosen argan oil as our second oil. Argan oil again has a very low comedogenic rating. It is actually rated 0, and it is also high in the linoleic acid, so again it's going to help with the skin's barrier function, and it's just going to be a nice combination of oils in our recipe today. Next we have some Durosoft PG4 O even, not 0, which is a polyglycerol 4 oleate. Polyglycerol 4 oleate. This is an emulsifier, and what it is going to mean is that when we have combined our oils with our salt, when we then use it in the shower and we add water, the emulsifier is going to help it to help the oils to mix well with the water so that we don't get an oily residue left on our skin. When we are scrubbing, it's going to feel nice and soft, but when we come out and we dry off, we shouldn't have a horrible greasy oily layer. That is why we are adding in this emulsifier. Next, I have got in some fragrance. I'm actually using a fragrance oil today. If you wanted to use essential oils instead, then by all means do. You can substitute the fragrance oil for another fragrance oil of your choice or for essential oils. Just make sure that they are safe to use in the IFRA category, which I believe for a scrub is 9. I will double check that, and if it's not, I will amend it on the screen for you. Category 9 IFRA, check that they are safe for use in scrubs. The reason I've gone with a fragrance oil is just because I do find that the Durosoft has a scent to it. It's not especially strong, but I find when I use essential oils it can be slightly noticeable. So I have chosen quite a strong smelling fragrance oil, Nordic Cedar from Candle Shack, which is absolutely gorgeous and one of my favourites. It's quite a strong scent, so I'm hoping that will be the scent that comes through in our scrub, and we won't have the scent of any of the other oils or the emulsifier coming through. The last thing I'm using is a preservative. I am using Preservative Eco. Now, technically, you don't actually have to include a preservative in this scrub because there is no water, so there is nothing we need to preserve. If you are making it for yourself and you don't wish to include the preservative, then don't. What I would say is if you are not including a preservative and you're planning using this in the shower, make sure before you go in the shower, you decant what you want out of the jar into a separate container and then use that. Do not allow the contents of the jar to get wet, because if you are introducing water and you haven't added a preservative, you are opening the product up to mold, bacteria, spoiling. So we don't want that. If you are planning on selling, I would definitely include the preservative because you can't control what your customers are going to do after they've purchased, and it is highly likely they will be digging into the jar with wet hands and introducing water. So for personal use, the preservative is optional, but do follow the advice on decanting if you are going to not include the preservative. If you're selling, I would say for safety, 100% include the preservative. And now we are going to get down to the making part, which is going to be considerably quicker than the explaining part. All we want to do is add these ingredients into here. I'm going to start with our oils, so going in with our blackcurrant seed oil, using the little spatula to scrape it out. Next, going in with the argan oil. Next, we'll go in with the Durosoft PG4 O. And to be honest, I could have added this into the oils, and normally I add all of the ingredients into one jar, bar the salt, and add them at the same time. Because I'm showing you the recipe today, that is why I have added things bit by bit. And the Durosoft is incredibly sticky, so make sure that you do get it out. We're going in with the fragrance. I also want to mention with the Durosoft, the limit or the recommended usage amount is from 5% to 15%. I'm using it at a rate of about 10% of the ingredients, excluding the salt weight. And I hope that makes sense. What I'm going to do, leave the preservative there just for now. I'm just going to mix in these other ingredients a little bit first. And it achieves quite a sort of sandy consistency. And now all I'm going to do is just drizzle over that preservative and then give everything a really good mix around. And honestly, that is about it. We just need to decant it into a jar now. Everything's well combined. And let me show you, before I decant it into the jar, I'll show you the consistency. So you can see here, it's quite a wet sort of sandy consistency, and it has got an oiliness to it. Basically, my very favourite salt scrub before I started making my own body products was the Sanctuary, which is sold in Boots. They do a salt scrub, and I wanted to try and mimic the consistency of that because that also has quite a wet consistency to it, but I just love how it feels in the bath or in the shower. And so I played about and I made my own one, which is where this was born. So quite a wet consistency, but it does feel good in the shower. I'm just going to quickly wash off my hand and then we'll decant into a jar. All we need to do now is fill the jar up. So I'm just going to decant into our pretty little frosted glass jar. And obviously with it being a scrub, you would probably decant it into a larger jar. You probably would use a 250 millilitre jar as a minimum. If you were going into a 250 millilitre jar, then I would say double the ingredients I've written in the recipe. Now I've overfilled it. Scrape a little bit off the top. And obviously the jars were fully sterilised before we started decanting. That is incredibly important to make sure the jars have been sterilised. She says as she wipes her fingers around the rim, it's okay, this one's for me and it's not going to take me long to get through this. So there we have it. 1 jar of our salt scrub. And I think it looks very pretty. As I say, it needs to be in a bigger jar really for getting your hands in. But for our little tester today, that's worked quite well. And you can see that is how much I have got left over in my bowl here. I will be using this later on in the shower. It's not going to go to waste. But I think we need to give you guys a little test just to show you how it behaves, show you what my skin looks like before and after, and prove that there is no oily residue left over. Let's go and test this bit. So obviously I'm not going to do a full body wash on camera. This really isn't that kind of site. I'm just going to show you just a small amount on my hands and probably up my arms a little bit just to show you how it goes. Let's get this spoon out the way. Ooh. Obviously we'll have to listen to the sound of the running water. But how I'm going to start, a little bit of water. Just going to scrub it, and you can see all that salt, bit of water, and it's great at exfoliating, really gets out any dirt. You've been outside in the mud if you're a gardener, or if you're just outside in the mud for any other particular reason. It's really good at exfoliating off those skin cells and leaving you feeling nice and soft. My skin will probably go red after this. It's not a reaction, I just have skin that after a good scrubbing, like many people's I suppose, draws the blood to the surface, and because I'm so pale that becomes very obvious very quickly. So covered myself in the salt scrub. I'm just gonna not burn myself on the tap. And then just rinse it off. And if I was in the shower, this is just what I would do over my entire body. Possibly not my face. I don't tend to exfoliate my face. This would be a little harsh for a facial scrub, unless you want to, in which case do it. There we go. Let's dry off. So I thought we'd come back downstairs because you guys don't want to hang out in my bathroom and there's much better lighting down here. But just to show you, that is my hands and arms after I have cleaned them with the scrub. And as you can see, there is no signs of oiliness or oily residue left on my skin. And just running over my hands and arms, they honestly do feel so soft. Really, nothing gets my skin as soft as this scrub. I just love the way it makes my skin feel. A really soft scrub. That kind of scent from the Nordic cedar is just a little bit noticeable on my skin. It's got a nice, fresh scent. If you use candle shack oils and you haven't tried Nordic cedar, definitely try it. It is just beautiful. I love it. But yeah, the main thing is, my skin and my arms, beautifully soft. Really recommend trying this recipe. Quick and easy, as you've seen. What else can I say? Not a lot really. If you enjoy our videos and you would like to help support our channel, please do consider buying us a coffee just down here. All the money we receive through Buy Us a Coffee goes straight back into the channel and is used to purchase new ingredients to experiment with, and we are very grateful for anything that we do receive through that. Also, if you haven't already, hit subscribe to our videos and hit the notification bell so you can find out when we upload a new video. Also, give us a like and leave us a comment, and we will see you next time for something else. Have a lovely day. Bye for now.